Hey guys, how are you? So, quick update. I think there's a key moment that's occurring in the markets right now. Since the beginning of the year, in fact, even coming in from the Christmas New Year period, even slightly before the very beginning of the new year, the dollar had ceased to show strength. The dollar had ceased to show strength, and the euro, more importantly, had been rallying quite strongly, both against the dollar, and it even had a bit of a rally against the pound. In other words, it was holding its own and even showing a bit of relative strength, being slightly above average. I think we had a critical day today. So we've been grinding higher in a rising wedge after a big sell off through a key interim level, or major interim level, a first on a weekly pattern on the downside break of the Euro USD. So if you think about the Euro USD, our first interim level, we ran that, we had a little rally, and then we dipped a little lower, and now we've had a proper rally that has gone on for some while. It's seen a lot of people call the top in the dollar. In actual fact, the Euro USD is going to trade down through parity in my assessment on balance of probabilities. So OBP is going to always mean on balance of probabilities for me. It means that I can always afford to be wrong on this, but I feel the likelihood are strongly in our favor. This is why I'm doing a face-to-face clip to you on this. So we have been in a rising wedge that we've fallen out of. But the dollar has still not been particularly strong itself. It's been talked down by Trump, it's been talked down by the Fed as well. And despite that, the euro has fallen through it. But the euro has been quite sizably weak against, he said, pulling his hat down over his eyes, euro and NOK. In other words, the Norwegian krona, very well run in terms of debt nation. A good place to have your bank, potentially. For those of you that are worried about your current banking setup, think on that one. Norway is a very good place from a debt perspective, and the euro NOK has been spilling for a bit. Also, the key one that we watch, which is the Swiss franc, and just about every major capitulation move I've been involved in some way from 2009, 2015, the beginning of the year. That key setup has been in a head and shoulders after its rally post the last capitulation, and it's been calming down. We went really tight just after just breaking through the neckline, really tight, little rally up to the neckline, and then really tight. That is now broken to the downside. Initially, it tried to have a little whiff to the upside and spilled to the downside. So that's a third shoe that has dropped. This is a lot of legs to the spider. So that's a third shoe that's dropped for the euro. It's fallen out of a very weak dollars rising wedge to the downside. Yes, there can be a return move. It has been losing against the Norwegian krona now for a bit, and it's starting to show stress on the Swiss, who's sick of eating this deadly currency and are probably having some fatigue. So what is going to happen? It's going to make the news. It's going to be all about the news in some time. It may not be yet. It's going to first spill, but it's got to wait till it starts hitting the main wires that the euro is losing. On the euro GBP side, so brings us into the Brexit discussion, which I was intricately involved in. We had a large run up and a melt up of euro strength against the pound, which was driven mainly by pound weakness. A gap up, exhaustion, and then we pulled down. And then we had, in the beginning of this year, a sort of echo mini version of a rally, which was coinciding with the dollar's rising wedge. Also, a little gap up, spill, and turnover down. Each time making a lower low and the high failing to make a higher high. So these have all recently occurred, and today we saw the Swiss franc fail. The euro Swiss franc fail to the downside, and acceleration in our euro NOK, and of course the dollar break out of a rising wedge. These are three technical patterns that have all failed today. I am going to put forward the hypothesis that on a 360-degree view across many currencies of the majors, and I've not looked at the Singapore dollar, I've not looked at the Aussie and the New Zealands and all of that. I'm just talking about their weak Western neighbors, GBP, USD, and then the strong and solid Norwegian krona, it's already showing this fall. So I anticipate that will be reflecting through all the markets. It's time to look at all your euro crosses. It's time to understand that the euro is not going to be the currency to be holding for those of you that have. It's time for you who may be planning a holiday to Euroland to not buy your currency just yet every day you delay might be cheaper. It's time for those that are in the Eurozone to realize that, the real crisis and the Brexit and all that's going to be finally Carney admitted will hurt the euro as a currency more than it will the pound. It'll likely be driven on the Brexit narrative, on Italian banks, any of a number, but you get the story later, and who knows, half the time the story isn't accurate anyway. It's just a toe tagging exercise so that the event is deemed explained to the masses. The key thing is we don't have to know what the narrative is. If you're trading, you want to trade to the short side against the euro. If you're looking for continuation setups, look for short sells across the euro, across the other pairs, and do not a buy a B in my view. That's my take, and as always, potentially wrong. Don't take this as advice. It's entertainment, it's opinion, and do your own research. But I want to wish you all a good first quarter. We've had a smashing first quarter with Porsche, Euro, NOK. We've had a lot of the euro crosses just working. They're all clearly correlated. So be careful of that. Don't express the same idea too many times over. Your money management will be spoiled, and there can still be rallies. There will be a lot of jawing if it gets emotional, which our first interim level, on the weekly EURUSD is just above the parity level. So there'll be an immense amount of jawing as that event approaches. So trade safe, trade small, be sensible, enjoy the ride, plan accordingly with your banking. That's it from me, the sniper. Bye-bye.